Hello and welcome back to another episode of Small Town Talk podcast brought to you by the Small Town Boys, myself, John Travis.
Mason Campbell.
And Ella.
Before we get into today's topic, how you doing, Mason?
I'm great.
I haven't seen you in like
a day.
Yeah, like it's weird. We've been together about every day, but we missed out on yesterday.
Mm-hmm. We didn't miss out yesterday, did we?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't see you yesterday.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure.
We look at Ella like she would know.
Did we? Did we?
I don't know if I did or not. No, I was working on my truck yesterday. Yeah, we did. We FaceTimed.
Okay,
With,
yeah, but we weren't
Hagen.
Like,
it was like a business FaceTime thing.
Yes, we had a meeting. Today's going to be a little bit more laid back because we want to kind of talk about
what we've learned thus far.
Yeah, the experience that we've had running a podcast, operating a podcast so far, even though this will be our 6th episode, but we've learned a lot.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We have learned a lot.
Absolutely.
Personally, I think it's kind of like lit a fire in me that I haven't had in a while as far as like creating media and like content. And that's really exciting for me.
I'd say me and Ella could agree on this. You've actually stuck with this one, like actually stuck to it after you said like.
Yeah, well, like I was telling her on the way here, before you got here, I told her, I was like, there's something about like doing this, like probably like the last couple weeks, like my mind's kind of just like flipped a switch.
Yeah, dialed in on it.
And like, yeah, that's literally what I told her. I was like, I'm so focused on it. And like I get stuff done, like I'm not slacking. Yep. Like a lot of people don't know like a lot of the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
Like they only see the podcast. How many hours did I spend trying to fix my program because it wouldn't do whatever it was doing?
I thought you said like 8.
Yeah, I spent like a total of 8 to 9 hours just trying to figure that out so we can get a podcast posted.
Yep.
Like missing one podcast isn't going to be the end of us, but like to me it was a big deal because like I'm laser focused on it. You know, so
kind of in a routine at this point.
Yeah, but seriously, like it's lit a fire in me that I haven't really ever had. I don't.
No,
think.
It's actually a good. It's one of our better ideas, I believe.
Yeah.
You know, because like all the other ones, we just kind of started but didn't do anything with it. Mm-hmm. So now it's like we're actually all hands on deck with it. Like we're talking about getting our new building and all that good junk, just to. Do this. And that building's not going to be cheap. It's a big freaking building, too.
It is a big building. It's going to be so nice, though.
I think it's like, what was it, 12 by 32, 10 by 32? I think it was 12.
Yeah, these are 12 or 14. I can't remember.
It's already got ventilation ran in it, and it's got the overhead storage bins, and everything's laid out so we can kind of make it how we want it, more or less. But it's going to be, what was it total? 24,000, 25,000? Something like that.
No, it was way cheaper than that. I think the 24,000 was if we did like a 72 month.
That's right. Yeah, like 300 and some bucks a month.
Yeah, if we just like paid off as quickly as we can, then I think it would be about 14.
It's like what, 657, 670 a month
for like the least amount of time. Yeah,
I think that's what it is. But I mean, it's worth it. It's got everything pretty much.
Well, it would just save
up.
Yeah, it would save so much time.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Could have everything in there.
Because I think the key difference between, and the reason like we want to invest in something that large, and that might seem kind of dumb to some people, but there's a lot of pros to it. Like for example, it takes about an hour or more to set up about every time that we do a podcast, and that's not including if we show up early and like brainstorm some ideas or more questions or anything like that. To where if we had this building, then we would already have all the computers in there. We would have the studio like all set up. Like it would be as simple as
just walk in and sit down.
Walk in, sit down, hit record, and then get to work. Because not only is it going to double as like a workspace, but like we're going to spend a lot of time in there.
We've already looked at security cameras actually even at Walmart.
Yeah.
To hook up and they'll all link to our phones and all that stuff. Because I mean, at that point we'll have a lot of money in there.
There's going to be a lot of money in there. Yeah. I mean, we're going to have multiple computers, all of our podcast equipment, cameras, lights, like none of that stuff is cheap.
Oh no. So and like we're gonna make it'll be almost like a false wall where you walk into the studio itself. And I mean that'll be locked, but I mean still somebody's gonna take the time to break in, they're going to go through that door too. They're not just going to stop.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, there'll be a lot of money involved in there. Because, I mean, we'll have internet ran to it. We'll have all the microphones, all the boom poles, and those really aren't the expensive stuff. You know,
No,
like your
it's
computer
not.
will be in there. That's when you start getting into the money. You
Yeah.
got one of them bigger computers, don't you?
Yeah, I built my own computer for it. It was, I think total, because I've upgraded parts, and I think total I spent like 22 or 2300 on it.
Really?
Yeah, but in my eyes, it's not even in my eyes. It is an investment because
absolutely.
It makes me money. So, but back to finish my thought I was going to have earlier, the reason we are like getting such a large investment is because like previously when we tried to, make content on YouTube, it was like we just wanted to like see the results. You know what I mean? Like we would do something and then just want immediate like overnight good results. Whereas this, I think we actually enjoy the process.
Yeah,
not
absolutely,
even like we don't even really care about the results.
No.
Like we just like doing this.
I mean, yeah, we care about the results, but it's not like our main priority right now.
No.
It's like and we've actually had a lot of interaction, like from the outside people that have actually watched it. I mean, they'll text you, they'll text me.
Yeah, not on YouTube. Like they directly like text us.
Yeah, that's what's pretty cool. That's how you know that you're like kind of reaching people, because they're like, and I even talked to that one guy that was talking to you, Malachi. I mean, he started up his own little like food truck business and all that stuff, and he was like texting me, and I was like, well, we'll get you on sometime. He's like, dude, I would love that. And like people are like actually liking to like get interactive with it, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I think.
Which we have. We are going to bring someone else on. He's probably watching this like, why haven't you put me on yet? But we will get you on here. But it's just a matter of when we're all available and a proper time, because right now we're doing this at midnight. So.
Well, I mean, that's actually normal time anyway.
Well, yeah.
We never do anything early in the morning.
Well, we're busy.
I don't think it's that. I think we're like made for night. Like I'm not.
That's true.
Like I'm normally in bed by freaking 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock.
It doesn't help, but it doesn't help when you drink like 5 Red Bulls.
You leave my Red Bulls out of this situation.
No, because that's your problem.
No, it's not my problem. You know what my problem is?
See?
Ellen, go practice falling down and getting up somewhere. Gee whiz.
No, being completely honest, how many Red Bulls do you think you drink a week?
Oh, a week?
A week. Shoot me a number.
I can't even guess a week.
I have a guess.
A week?
A week.
Probably just 10.
I say more than that.
I was going to say like 12, 13.
I was going to say closer to 15.
Well, I'm drinking how many a day?
Well, because sometimes you drink.
Oh, sometimes I put them away.
Sometimes you drink like a lot in one day and not have any the next. But like
I'd say I'm drinking 5 a day probably.
That's too much.
I'd say, right? Well, how many come in that case that I got that one day and had them drinking
Sometimes you drink the little ones. Sometimes you drink the big ones.
Well, I drink when I get my hands on.
Yeah.
Like the ones we got at Kroger's at one time.
There was
how many were in there? Yeah, but how many were in there?
12.
I had that drink like in a day.
Do you drink coffee?
Yeah.
What do you get from drinking so many?
I just like the taste of them.
Yeah, I don't actually think the caffeine benefits him anymore.
I think my body's like immune to that at this point. Like I can drink a pot of coffee and go right to sleep. And a strong pot of coffee too, not that crap that you can see the bottom of the pot. You can't even see it's black. I can just drink it and snuggle right up and go to bed.
I think you have.
And then Mountain Dew screwed up, and they came out with a lime citrus energy drink. That stuff's some good stuff too.
Now, listen, we went to the store the other day, and they were out of his lime citrus Mountain Dew energy drinks. He was upset.
I was very upset.
And he said the next time we come here and they have it, I'm buying them out. I was like, yeah, okay. Well, about 3, 4, 5 days go by. We walk in. They're stocked up, baby.
They had 4 or 5 of them suckers.
They're cold.
And they all left with me.
And he goes, oh, they got 6 of them. Well, they did have 6 of them, and grabs all 6 of them and goes and checks out.
Dude, I went through, what's that? Little carry out on the west side called, is that the Rusty Court?
I don't remember.
Might be. I don't know, but I went through, and they didn't have the 6-packs of them. So I was like, give me 6 16 ounces. She loaded them up and handed me a bag through the window, and I was like, Here we go. Dad was sitting in the passenger seat and he just kind of looked at me. I was like, my heart's gonna explode one of these days.
Yeah, it really is if you're not careful.
Shoot, dude.
Anyway.
I'll go out happy, smiling with a Red Bull in my hand.
Yeah. Okay. Ella, I think you've been around, which I know you know, like all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes and stuff. But what's something that you've learned, like doing this whole thing? It can be about like yourself or Mason and I, or just the whole thing in general.
I think I've learned that despite how different you two are, you guys really have like this sort of thing in common. Like I feel like you wouldn't see it
Makes sense.
in Mason at all, but like you really do.
You wouldn't see what in me at
like
all.
like you having an interest in
Oh,
something
yeah,
like this.
Because I'm really actually a backwards kind of guy.
Well, it's not.
Unless
even,
I know you. Then
like it's not even the fact that you're backwards. It's just that you're so technologically stupid.
Absolutely. No, that's probably the best way to describe it, actually.
Like if you ask Mason to like take a picture on your phone, he's like, "How do I do that?"
Yeah, it's like
He's like, I know how to call, I know how to FaceTime, and I can scroll through Facebook.
that's about it. I know how to text, but it takes me a little bit.
I was like, hey, the other day we were setting up for our previous podcast. He's like, how you turn this thing on?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you see that on and off switch? He goes, no. And it's like one of the 3 only switches that are on the camera. I was like, that one by the big button. What big button?
Dude, I swear I'm like an old soul. And I've had people tell me that a lot just because like I don't like rely or need technology. Like if I would get rid of my phone for a whole day, I would be fine. Like I don't need it, you know?
Yeah, I feel like I'm the same way, but I enjoy technology. I'm good with it.
Yeah, see, and to me it don't matter, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's good.
I use a lot of technology and I know how to use it, but I feel like if it all disappeared, I wouldn't have like a massive problem. It would definitely be like a change.
I
Yeah.
hate phones.
Dude, whenever I
I
found
hate computers.
yes.
Why?
I just don't like technology. Like I'm fine with it, but like I wish I lived in a time like where
Mm-hmm.
it didn't exist.
I mean,
Like,
yeah, I understand that.
Dude, if I could go back to like not even Western times, let's just say like later, let's say go back to 1915, you know, when the way you talked to somebody was you rode your horse or you rode your little carriage to their house.
A mail pigeon.
Yeah, and you talk to them, you know.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Like today, there's no like people to people interaction. It's all
It really
by
is.
the way of a phone.
Yeah, it really is a problem because you have so many of these like keyboard warriors and like people hide behind a screen.
Dude,
so much.
I get so ticked off at that just because I'm
Yeah.
like a hands-on kind of guy when
And-
it comes to running
yeah.
your mouth.
And people are completely different when like you meet them, and,
Uh-huh.
like good or bad.
Oh yeah.
Like the script just flips whenever you see them in person.
Dude, I love that kind of junk too, 'cause like whenever they're texting or whatever, say me and you had a problem, and you like run your mouth big time. My response are probably gonna be like, all right, okay. But then when I see you in person, I'm like, all right, you want to talk?
Yeah.
It's like, no, man. I'm like, say it, dude.
Yeah.
You're real tough.
You gotta be careful. You
And
gotta be
that's-
careful what you say to people.
and that's why I-
especially when you're behind a keyboard.
Yes, especially when you're behind a keyboard.
Because you might just run into them one day.
if you're not
and-
careful, somebody take that keyboard and beat you with it.
Yeah.
You know. But that's just. I mean, I guess that's how we are different.
Yeah.
We are different. Like I'm
Yeah.
the guy that if I see you out, I'll call you out on your bull crap, you know? It'd be like, oh, no. You want to talk
mean-
now? And
Yeah.
John's the one that's going to be the one texting me going, you're stupid. I'm like, say it to my face.
No. Well, here's the thing. Personally, I've never really had like. I don't think I've ever really been in a situation where.
You really don't get mad easy.
Yeah, I was gonna say you
It
just
takes a
kind of like
lot.
sit there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it does take a lot to like get to me.
I mean, whenever I get mad, I get real quiet. Like, I'll sit there and I'll listen to somebody talk, and the more they'll talk, the more quiet I'll get. And then when I completely shut up, that's when I'm about to just fly off the handle. And it takes so much longer for me to calm down after I get ticked off. I mean, it might take me 25 minutes to get ticked off, but I'll be sitting there an hour and a half afterwards still ready to kill somebody, you know? Just like, I don't have like an in-between. It's like freaking fight or flight.
Yeah. See, and like. For me, I think getting angry and worked up over stuff, which I still do, like not
Everybody does,
not
yeah.
necessarily like towards people all the time, but just like small stupid things. But like I'll get worked up over it, and then I'm just like, what's the point?
I mean,
I'm just wasting like energy and time being upset about this or being mad at like this person. I'm just like,
but honestly, I kind of wish that I had your demeanor where it takes a lot to get under my skin.
mm-hmm.
But like if somebody does get under my skin, that's when I just freaking completely lose it. And you're kind of like logical with it, and you're like, no, all right, and you're like, you don't go to like the next step of getting like extremely mad.
Yeah.
And it's just like I just keep getting mad, and I'll just let it sit inside and let it sit inside and build and build and build, and then it just blows up, and I'm the bad guy at that point,
Yeah. I don't think I've ever been into a situation where it's escalated to like me even thinking that it would like turn physical.
Yeah. But that's
not
good,
because I don't want to fight. It just
you
like
don't
I
need
would
to.
yeah, I don't feel the need to.
Yeah.
Like obviously I would defend myself if I had to.
Well, yeah.
But like,
and I mean, if somebody done something to Ella, you take up for her.
Yeah, but I personally wouldn't start a fight. You know what
Fighting's not going to be your first option.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where the way that I was raised, fighting's like, Mom and Dad always used to tell us, well, Dad used to tell us, Mom would be like, just turn the other cheek, be the bigger person, walk off. And then you'd have the conversations with Dad where he'd be like, just make sure I swing first. He said, get him down, don't let him up. Like, that's the kind of difference. And
like, I do think there is a limit.
Oh, absolutely.
There is a limit to where, like, okay, I'm just going to have to beat this guy up.
Exactly. Like, there's that threshold that you don't
Yeah.
cross. And once you cross that, it's like game on, it's like free for all. But that's just, like I said, that's just kind of how, like, I was raised in a sense that Mom would always be the logical one and be like, just, you don't have to fight. You don't have to, lose your cool. And then Dad would be the one. It's like, back in my day, we'd go out there and fist fight and then we get up and shake hands. And I mean, that don't happen anymore now. Anyways,
No.
people pull a gun or pull a knife on you, so you really don't fight anymore either. And I really kind of wish I would have taken Mom's advice growing up and just would have been like, let it roll off my back and just go on, But I'm not that fortunate.
Because, like, for me, it would be hard to, like, change my ways into fighting. And for you, it's hard for you to, like, change your ways into the logical and, like, not even letting it bother me type thing. Just because that's the way you were, like,
raised. I mean, honestly, though, I think I've done a lot better about controlling.
I think you have.
Like, my anger, I really don't get.
Whenever you got back into church.
Yeah, I really don't get ticked off as much. I still have a short fuse.
Yeah.
For stupid stuff. Like, stuff that's not even worth my time. I just kind of let that go. But, like, if somebody would, like, involve my family in it somehow, like, even just an argument, bring up something, then that's when I flip the switch and it's like, all right, you better watch what you say next. You'll be breathing out of a tube kind of situation, And that's, I mean, obviously it's not the answer to anything, but it makes you feel better for a little bit,
Yeah. All right, we got to quit talking about fighting. Our Masons are going to want to punch something whenever we're off this podcast.
I'm not even like actually thinking back and thinking of like the decisions that I've made in my life. I look at them as a blessing and a curse just because people have seen me at my lowest of lows and people have seen me when I'm like extremely like at my highs too. But like at least I kind of have something to tell my kids one day and be like, I used to do the same stupid junk you're doing or you're thinking about doing. And let me tell you firsthand, it's not worth it. You know? Like I'm not going to, obviously I'll teach my kids one day to defend themselves, but I'm also not going to teach them to, like that's the first thing that you want to do is get into it with somebody because it's not. I mean, you can sit there and freaking talk to somebody and figure something out rather than beating somebody's head in or you getting your head beat in and figure nothing out. Yeah. But that's why I kind of like wish I kind of had a little bit more of your demeanor, just where it was kind of like it takes a lot to bother you.
It does, yeah.
Because I don't think I've ever seen you mad actually.
No, and even if I do get mad, which I have plenty of times, I usually I won't show it.
Yeah.
I just kind of shove it down, and then like I'll kind of let it out when I'm alone.
Yeah.
Not like I won't like physically do anything, but like I'll just think about it like for a while, and then I'm like, okay, like it's over.
I don't know if you've ever actually seen me mad before. You probably have.
I'm trying to think of a time. I think no, I don't think I have.
I don't think you have either. I know you've heard about it from people though.
Yeah.
From freaking back when I used to run the bar scene and drink a lot, and that was even worse.
Yeah, I
'Cause
know.
that's when I'd really lose my cool.
I don't know. You got mad that one time you actually stabbed yourself in the forehead with a handle off your stall that you built.
Oh, dude. I did get mad.
What?
Okay, so I got a dry box for Nellie's food, and then it has like had a piece of plywood coming this way and a piece of plywood coming this way, and then 2 locks coming out to lock it in. And I was talking to John, and you used to have to just pull up on the plywood that was on the top. You could open it. I said, John, all you gotta do is pull up on it. I pulled up on it. Piece of plywood snapped off and hit me right between the eyes and cut me wide open
He
like
literally like took this piece of plywood and it was like it had like snapped off, so it was like jagged and sharp, and literally just stabbed himself in the forehead. It was hilarious.
And I just went dead silent.
And then I was like, "Oh, it's not too bad." And then it goes, starts draining blood, and I was like, "Oh, you're bleeding."
I said, "Yep." He's like, "I knew it hurt because you didn't say a word." I was like, and it was cold outside, and I was like,
"Yeah,
I'm not gonna get mad."
Yeah, he took that anger out on Nelly, so it's
not
fine.
Gonna get mad. And yeah, let's just say that we don't pull up on the wood anymore. We just close it.
Well, you can't because the handle's gone now.
We got the bottom one still.
Yeah, got the bottom one still. So what's something that, like, one major thing that you've learned, like, throughout this whole thing? Or maybe not even learned, but just anything that might seem different than our usual ideas that we have?
I think for just me in general is actually being able to talk in front of people.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, I was good at talking in front of people, like, one-on-one. And, well, you know, whenever I was preaching, I could preach.
Yeah.
But, like, as far as, like, getting in a big group of people, whether it was, like a school event or something like that, I'd freak out. Like, I'd start sweating.
Oh, yeah.
I'd, like, stutter, and I'd be like, man, you sound like a freaking bumbling idiot. And have you ever, like, said something that makes no sense whenever you're talking, but you just, like, you don't know what to say, so you say something, and
I've
it's like...
I've done it several times on here.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just, like, the worst feeling in the world when you're, like, trying to talk to somebody, and it's like...
Yeah.
And everybody's, like, looking at you. Yeah, that's what I went through.
I think, like, I caught myself doing it. I think last episode I said your name, but I said like Macon or something like that.
You said Macing.
Macing, that's what I said. I was like, well, Macing, and I just kind of like went quiet for a second. It was like,
I didn't even notice
I heard
that.
it. I just didn't say anything.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you didn't. Thanks for not embarrassing me. I was like,
I didn't even notice that.
It's like Macing.
But it's definitely, like, good feedback whenever people were, like, texting you and saying we had, like, really good podcast voices. Yeah. Which that is a major compliment to me.
Yeah, and I did take that. Like, I hold that compliment pretty high because I'm not going to say his name, but the person that said it has a lot of time behind a microphone. Yeah. He used to make music, and then he didn't really have time to make music anymore, but like he knows a lot about microphones, knows a lot about audio and stuff like that. And for him to say that was a really good compliment.
I think we really actually like flow through it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
if that makes sense, better than like I'll say something and then it'll go quiet, and then you'll say something and then it'll go quiet, and then Elle will say something. I feel like we just kind of like pick up where the other one like lets off, and then it just like keeps going. There's never really any like dead airspace.
We're really like fluid with it.
Yeah. I feel like you've made a lot of progress since like the first one.
The first one was definitely weird. Yeah.
Well,
not the first, not
like even
the first one.
Even after the first one.
Like the first one, like with our equipment.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know even our first one that we did down in the dad's little building.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you watch it, we would talk and then we'd pause.
We'd be like, yeah.
And we didn't have anything else to talk about.
Yeah, and then it would always like come back to the horse because we just didn't know what else to talk about.
I mean, it was like we didn't leave any opportunity for anything. It was just like we would talk about one thing and then freeze for a minute, and you could see me and John just kind of.
Yeah.
Well, and just
how's the weather today?
Yeah, and it'd be like, or like you said, I'd be sitting there and I'd be like, well, Nellie's moving out there.
Yeah.
Mason's got a horse. You know, it's just like a weird little.
Yeah, we're like, idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, I kind of feel like Ella is more of like a host at this point too. You know, because
she's
like
on every podcast.
we brought her on for like a filler host in a way, but it's kind of like she just got a permanent position there now.
Yeah.
Even
I think don't say period.
Period. Period. Period.
But I think,
Period.
I mean, even though she don't like talk a whole lot, which is fine. Like she interjects when she needs to, but
She like
That's just how I
she-
am, though.
see,
I'm
like
not.
she fills in the gaps.
like the first one, I feel like you were like scared to talk.
Yeah, because
Well,
I mean,
no, I just didn't have anything to talk about.
you were like,
I was so
way
like,
back here.
I felt so put on the spot. I just was like, my mind was blank the whole time.
That is
And,
true.
like,
I'm pretty sure 20 minutes before we started, I was like, "Hey, you're gonna be in this."
Yeah, but I mean now she's even more comfortable because if you remember the first one, like she would be sitting like right here, and the microphone would be like.
Well,
she'd
yeah,
just lean into it.
Because I think it might have been you that was like talking to me, like, don't like breathe into the microphone or whatever. And I was like, wait, so like if I sit like comfortably, like they're going to be able to hear me breathing. So I, you know.
She was a
Sat way
good
back.
distance away from it because every
Yeah.
time she'd talk, she'd
I
be
mean,
like,
she literally like pushed the beam out. She was like,
Now I
she'd
just
come
don't
up in
care.
here, and her like head would like angle up, and then
But-
she'd be like, blah, blah, blah.
the thing is too, these headphones are turned up really loud, so you're gonna hear stuff that you won't hear like in the actual podcast.
But like with me just right here, like I don't hear myself breathing.
No.
Yeah, no.
I don't
So
either.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Anyway, what were we
I
talking
don't
about?
hear. Just kind of like what we've learned from it,
Yeah.
or what we've benefited from it. I think that's what you said, and like how I said that, like
I'll tell
talking.
I'll tell you. Okay, yours was talking.
Because let's be honest, I am not a very good. I'm not very good at like speaking
Mm-hmm.
in a way. Like it takes a lot for me to think about, and I'm
Nope.
like, what?
I was just agreeing with
Oh
you.
yeah. Nope.
No, you're terrible. You
But I mean,
suck. Continue.
wow.
I'm just saying what she was thinking out loud. Okay.
I know Ella has no regard for my feelings at all. But anyways, I feel like this kind of helped me like kind of flow through talking about stuff. Like I don't get hitched up as much. I don't stutter as much. I don't get as nervous, you know,
Yeah.
because I would never have talked in front of people
One thing
like
that
this.
I noticed, especially in like the first and the second episode, which I kind of talked to her about, but I knew we were kind of new into it, so
Mhm.
I figured it would just kind of naturally fix itself. But you would like start talking about something, and I feel like you would get nervous because you didn't know what to say. So then you would just ramble on and on
Oh, yeah.
and on, and you would talk for like 15, 16 minutes, like straight, like
Really?
all Mason. Yeah, I mean, you would talk about what we were talking about,
You should have told me to shut
but
up.
you were just like ramble on.
Really?
Yeah.
That's how you know. I
Which,
wasn't
and
good talking.
I didn't say anything because I knew like we were all new to this. Like we'd never done anything like
Yeah.
this before, so like obviously we're all not gonna be perfect. So I didn't even care.
It's definitely a different different type of talking.
Yeah,
If that makes sense. It's not just like a
because it's weird because it's a combination of like you're talking to an audience, but we're actually like
just talking to ourselves.
we're talking to our. It's weird. Yeah, it's weird because we're talking to ourselves, but at the same time we're talking to an audience, like directly to
but they're
an audience.
just not here.
Yeah, they're not here.
That
It's more than just them like watching a conversation of
Yeah.
ours. You know what I mean?
that was the weirdest part about the first time that we like even had these boom arms and stuff, and we're all sitting there talking and looking at each other, and in the back of my head I was like, this is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking to John and Ella right now. Like why? It was almost like why am I wearing headphones? Why am I
Right.
talking into a microphone? It wasn't like somebody's gonna see it. It was like
Yeah. It was like
what
we're
do
just,
we I kind of feel weird, you
Mhm.
know. But now
Yeah.
it's kind of like the normal. Like
Yeah.
this- when you put these daggone things on and talk to the
It helps too when people like talk about it, like message you and
Yeah.
stuff, obviously.
oh, absolutely.
But I think one thing that I don't think it's a coincidence personally, but like I was telling her on the way here also that like once I started, because in the beginning, I mean, we took it seriously, like we wanted to do
Yeah.
it, but like now we're like really taking it serious. Like we have goals and plans like that we're going to execute like in the near future.
Now it's a business.
Now we actually have like a business mindset
Yep.
towards it. So I kind of had like a self-reflection in the car when I was going to my aunt's house today, and I was like, once I started, like once that mindset flipped, and like I was like laser focused, like I would always have a bad problem with like not doing things I always said like I would do.
Impulsive.
And like I would make super impulsive decisions, and like I wouldn't ever have like anything planned out, or if I did, it would like overlap and like things wouldn't work out. But like here this week recently, like I haven't written my week down or nothing, but like I mentally plan my week out, like in a way. But as like if I were to do that before that, whatever switched like kind of in my head, like it would like none of that stuff would happen.
Yeah.
But like now, like I have like a process to my day.
Yep.
Like
a routine.
Like, for example, I'm off tomorrow. So tomorrow I'm going to be on the computer for like 4 to 6 hours, either, you know, researching stuff, editing stuff, doing, you know, whatever that will benefit the podcast. I stay on top of things like I'm going to just call him an employee because he is financially benefiting from it. That runs our social media account, so I communicate back and forth with him.
Yep.
Like me and you have had like a meeting with him.
Yep.
And like talked about stuff like what we kind of like expect from him and stuff like that.
And he's actually really talented.
He is.
And he's really he's not like your typical guy that's going to sit there and like try to put his 2 cents into everything. Like he actually has an eye for it, and like whenever you send him something, you don't have to second guess if it's going to get done and look good. It's just like, here you go. And like whenever you had told me that he was the one that was doing all the social media stuff, I was like, look, that looks great. Like I thought you was doing it.
Yeah.
And you was like, I haven't touched any of it.
Well, like it's kind of one of those things which we do have some, like I'm going to hop on the computer tonight and talk to him to like kind of dial some things in, because there's a few things that we still need to change as far as like quality goes, but that's just like as simple as changing some numbers in the program that he uses. But like how I said in my podcast when I talked about my cameras and stuff, where I thought like I wasn't good, like where I thought I wasn't good, but like, and I always would ask for like that
gratification,
not gratification, but like
feedback.
I needed that like reinforcement of, oh no, it's good work, you know, all that stuff. Like he still needs that from like me. Like obviously he's gonna run by like and show me the stuff he's gonna post, but like I'm like, dude, you know what you're doing.
Yeah, you don't need
like,
to.
As soon as we get like these settings dialed in, whatever, like you have free range because you know what you're doing.
And even like
not a big deal.
And we even kind of told him, you was like, dude, if you need like certain amount of money to, if it'd be get a different like editor or program or whatever it is, it'd be like, text us.
Yeah.
Like we're not going to second guess where it's going. We're just going to be like, here you go, however much it is, you know. And that's actually really, really helpful with what we're trying to do, because we're all kind of brainstorming about ideas on what we're going to do here, what this one's going to be, what that one's going to be. Like we said earlier, getting the building ready. Like we're freaking everywhere right now, and like that's something we don't have to worry about because he's got that locked down, you know.
Yeah, and like, just like the other day where the podcast didn't post on Sunday, I just told him, I was like, hey, the podcast isn't going to post. And he was like, okay. Like, I was just telling him, like, the podcast isn't going to be posted today, because usually he'll watch it and all that stuff. Well, then I get on my Instagram, like, 2 or 3 minutes later, and there's already a story up on our Instagram. I was like, sorry, guys, there's not going to be a podcast today. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well,
like
the guy knows what he's doing.
It's legit.
Like, you know what I mean? Yeah.
It don't look like something that's, like, cobbled together. Like, it's legitimate. And, like, he closed out all his windows on his computer, too. And, like, I was like, dude, that looks freaking professional, though. Yeah. You know? Like, I never thought whenever we started that we would kind of, like, have any ounce of, like, professionalism about us.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, like, I guess we should, like, talk about the elephant in the room. We don't have our table. We're not in our usual background.
Oh, yeah. It's warm in here. It's warm in here.
So, basically, our office right now
is a pneumonia hole.
Is basically like there's might as well just not even be walls in there.
No, honestly, at this point, the office isn't the office anymore.
No, I think this is going to be the new office.
Yeah, until the building gets done.
Until the building gets done, which that was our own space. We had free range to do whatever we wanted in there, but there was
too much.
There's too much work because we had talked about like renovating it and doing all this stuff.
And now we're
to
just going
it.
to buy something that's ready.
Now we're just going to buy something that, is fully built, and we're going to insulate
Which
it.
actually, me
and
and
then
you
be
need to go there tomorrow and look at that.
We do.
Because they're there from 8 to 5.
There are business cards in your truck.
It is in my truck.
Yes.
But we'll go there, and I mean, they freaking deliver it. You don't have to have money down on it. It's like, you don't even, I don't even think you pay the first month. Like, they give you like a leeway on the first month. Yeah. It's almost like when you buy a car, how you don't make the payment that month.
Yeah, you like wait so long. Yeah.
I think that's kind of what it is. And the quicker you pay it off, the less it's going to cost interest, which they're not really high interest either, if I remember correctly.
No, I think it was like,
I think it was 5 or 8%.
I think it was 8.
Was it? I knew it wasn't.
I think.
And that's not terrible for around here.
Mm.
There was a guy, he was telling me up at Mama's birthday that for his daughter, they were going to get her a used car. And it was like a 21.
Oh, yeah.
And the interest rate on it was like 13 or 14% start out.
Mm-hmm.
Like you couldn't go lower than that.
Yeah.
And like for those of you watching that don't understand the adult world yet and what interest is, it's kind of their way of taxing you off of what you already bought to get more money than what you signed for.
Yeah.
More or less. It's like, okay, you bought this vehicle for $25,000. You have a 12% interest rate. You're going to be spending $35,000 to $40,000. It's not going to be the 27 that you financed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so a lower interest rate definitely is going to be nice.
Yeah, not good.
No,
not good. High interest rates
but,
equal not good.
But back to kind of this being like the setup now. You know, whenever we do get that building, we'll have like we said, we'll have our area where all this will be set up in there already, and then we'll have like another area where you can do all the editing and all that stuff. And then honestly, it's kind of going to be like a hangout place too, I'd imagine, just because we're going to be there so much. We'll have like a TV in the freaking middle of it. You can go to Big Sandy and buy a freaking nice couch for like $1,000.
Oh yeah.
Like a full sectional thing.
Because us sitting here right now, which I know you guys can't really see because we can see what you see because we have a monitor there, but like the room we're in right now, like the space we're working with right now is probably actually 12 by, I would say close to like 12 or 14 after you hit that counter.
Yeah, I'd say you're closer to 15 foot off that wall. No, you're right. It's about 12. And I'd say less than 10. I'd say it's like
So
8.
You got to think, if we got 32 foot
That's
that
a lot of room.
way,
yeah,
we're going to have a ton of room in there.
Oh, yeah. And then if it's going to be, well, it'd be from probably that back wall to about where the camera's set up. It just looks like it's closer to the table, but about where the camera's set up is how wide it is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's going to be a lot of room
There's going to be a lot of room.
I mean, we can, like we said, we can make our little studio area and then the little editing area and then make the middle kind of like a hangout spot almost, like have a TV in there and have all that stuff.
Because like you said, we're going to spend a lot of time in there and, either brainstorming or just talking about, future plans and all that stuff. You got to be comfortable in it.
I mean, dude, we've even went as far as talking about like plumbing, like putting a like a bathroom in there and like a small little kitchen area in there just because.
Like a microwave and something like, yeah.
Even like one, dude, you can buy one of those little, they're almost like a half stove type thing that runs like it legitimately looks like an actual stove, but it runs off the little small propane cans. It's like a miniature it's like a miniature stove almost. And I mean, because once we go in there, who knows? I mean, a lot of times, let's be honest, if we do have a space like that and it's actually decent and we got it heated and all that junk, it would be nothing just to pass out and go to sleep in there. Yeah, and then just wake up. And that'd be nice because it'd be kind of the luxury of it.
Yeah.
Like here we got to break everything down, or even when we was over at my house, we'd have to break everything down and kind of, like you said, that takes about an hour.
Yeah, it does.
So if you don't have to do that.
Takes a long time.
So, I mean, if you don't have to do that, it saves so much more time. And then you're nap time,
Yeah. Because for every podcast, we expect at least 2 hours just in setup and tear down alone.
Yeah, that's not even
the podcast. We have to, that's 2 hours. We could literally be doing anything else productive.
And we try to hold ourselves to at least, probably an hour and 45 minutes.
Usually.
2 hours.
The episodes themselves are about an hour and a half-ish. the actual raw recordings probably like two hours 20 minutes because we do take a break and talk about stuff. And
I mean, I think we've gotten really good at that too, like the time management where
everything.
It's not like our first one was like 3 hours.
And you know what's crazy? Like, we don't keep track of that.
No.
I think it's just we're kind of used to. We kind of know how long things are going.
That's a really good kind of aspect to have too, because I'm not gonna lie, if I was watching a podcast and it was 3 hours long, I'd probably watch the first 25 minutes of it, then just start skipping through it, to get to the end. And whenever me and you had that conversation, we're like, dude, it was 3 hours long. Like, that is too much.
Yeah.
Like, it was too much for us.
Yeah.
We should just shut up and cut it off.
We were like, I was actually exhausted after that.
But I
seriously was.
An hour and 45-minute episode, people are kind of glued to it. And then it's like, what's the next one going to be? And then you got people like actually looking ahead for the next one instead of, here's another 3 hour long one. We don't want to watch all that, And
another thing, well, you know what? I'm just going to talk about this on the podcast. I don't even care. It's another business idea here. So, something I was thinking about is people can watch this podcast, right, on YouTube, obviously. So, like, if they're driving in the car or whatever, they can listen to it, but their phone has to be turned on, right? Unless you have YouTube Premium, which you have to pay for.
Like a Spotify or something.
And then you can, like, turn your phone on. I think we need to start posting this on Spotify as well.
Yeah.
That way, let's say you're watching it at home, you got you got to drive to Walmart or whatever. You don't want to quit watching it. You can just go to where you left off on Spotify, plug your phone in, boom, there you go.
And that's honestly a good way of marketing too, because like I remember there was a girl on, I think she was on American Idol, and she released a song called Flowers or something like that. Well, then Miley Cyrus released her version. So, I mean, it's close to the same name. You type it in, and then all these different recommendations come up, so then your name's right there.
Yeah.
And you get a lot more audience that way. That's how a lot of people start, too. A lot of people don't even start on YouTube. They just start on, what's that one thing called, SoundCloud?
Well, that's what podcasts were originally.
Yeah.
They were originally strictly audio.
Yeah.
And then people started, I think, don't quote me on this, but if I had to guess, I think Joe Rogan was the first one to introduce the video podcast.
I don't think it was him. I think it was Logan Paul and Jake Paul, I believe.
No.
You don't think so?
No. Joe Rogan has been doing this for a long time.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh. Like, well, you got to think he's like over 2,000 episodes in.
Yeah. Dude, I want to be the ideal thing would be the type of podcast that people would like binge listen to.
Oh, yeah.
Like how you get stuck on one channel and you're like, you just keep scrolling down and listen to them. I mean, that's kind of like the ideal thing.
Yeah.
To be like, hey, man, I got listening to your guys' podcast, and when you going to post another one? I listen to them all,
Yeah. Which we are noticing, well, I'm noticing now because I look at the statistics constantly, the analytics on YouTube. But, like, for example, now we have 68 subscribers. So that's 68 people that's notified when we post if they have the notifications on, which turn the notification bell on, by the way, so you know when we upload a new podcast. But like within our first hour, the past two podcasts have been 10 views. So that's 10 views that people say, oh, hey, they post a podcast, we're going to watch it.
Yeah.
Like instantly within the first hour. So that's good. We're growing.
And I mean, how many subscribers did you say? 60?
68.
68?
Yes.
Okay, that's 60 more than we had.
No, that's...
Whenever we started.
More than 60.
Whenever we done our first.
It's more than 60.
Is it?
Yeah. It's 62.
I know we definitely need to go in there and delete them old videos off there, though.
Yes. Actually, no. Because that would go everything against what we've been saying.
I'm talking like the YouTube videos, like the one when we tried the YouTube channels.
Yeah, but that's part of us, dude.
I mean, yeah.
That's there permanently.
I guess, yeah.
They're kind of cringy.
No, they are
very
absolutely cringy, and I don't want people to watch them, but I feel bad.
But they're funny.
But I feel bad for deleting them because...
I don't. I rode a freaking bicycle around Walmart and honked the horn trying to pop a wheelie.
I'll tell you why I don't want to delete them.
It's 7 o'clock in the morning.
Because let's say someone new that doesn't know the channel finds a channel, and that like one of those 3 videos is one of the first ones they watch, right? but then they watch.
And then they
this
leave the
podcast.
channel because they're like, these guys are idiots.
No, but then they leave. You know, they leave the that video and they watch the podcast. Like, I want it there for like comparison, like where
Oh, yeah.
like where it was, but like where we're at now.
That makeup one is so cringy.
Oh yeah,
I watched that, dude.
we filmed that on a GoPro, and it looked terrible because I didn't know how to work a GoPro.
Dude, it all looked terrible. The way that we had everything set up.
No,
The way that we was doing stuff.
We had Ella looking good. I don't know what you're talking about.
No.
I felt so bad after I watched that, dude. Half her face was orange. Half her face was like a
I looked
like a
hideous.
light
poop brown color.
Yeah.
And then I don't even think
She
we
had
put the right makeup in the right
one
spot.
eyelash like stuck down to the bottom
Mhm.
one.
What I think
was
we
bad.
should do is let me do your guys' makeup. Don't even give me that face.
Good thing we're in a podcast now, not YouTube videos.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
you
actually,
have
you can do-
you have a place that your exclusive content is
yeah,
going.
I need to talk about that for a second because people that
Patreon.
are watching our previous or had watched our previous podcast, I said that our Patreon would, which it's linked in there, but I said our Patreon would have that video in it, but it doesn't because the software broke, so I'm gonna have to post that like ASAP
Post it where?
on Patreon.
Oh.
But I explained to you what Patreon was, right? Okay, yeah. So no, that's like, I mean that's kind of content that we can put on there.
You look great getting your makeup done.
You still got to do your. How many times am I have to mention your ice bath challenge?
If you think I'm going to set up my own punishment, you're wrong. So whenever you set it up,
That's
I'll
true.
do it.
That's true.
So how many times are you going to keep telling me that I have to do an ice bath challenge and you're not doing it?
I'll come home from work with a couple bags of large bags of ice, fill the tub up, and we'll get to it.
Why are we going to do it in a bathtub? Why don't you get like a big tub, like a trash can or something where I got to get all the way in it?
Well, we can use our trash can.
See, and I'm even helping you.
I think you're excited for it for some reason.
Honestly, dude, I've heard it's really good. Like, it's really good muscle
Catch
therapy.
me in it.
People do it all the time. Like, you'll see them on you'll see them on TikTok, and they're like busting the ice open, and they're like, "All right, I'm gonna get here for 2 minutes," and they'll jump in, like, "You gotta control your breathing," and they're sitting there. I'm like, that looks
And
great.
then I see people get in, they just act like it's nothing. They're just,
I don't know what it does medically,
wow.
but a bunch of people do it. You know,
hey, I guess
there's got to be a reason to it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess it's like somebody getting in an ice bath and getting out and getting into a sauna.
Yeah, I think we're kind of. I said this podcast was going to be a little bit more laid back, but I think we're veering off a lot.
Well, yeah, you brought up an ice bath.
No, you're talking about your content and stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
John, quit trying to be a dad.
I'm not trying to be a dad. I'm not. I'm really not. I don't know. You know I'm a perfectionist.
No.
And nothing's ever perfect, unfortunately.
No. John's a perfectionist.
Yeah.
Would you have guessed that, Ella?
Mm-mm.
No.
No. But even you.
Do you iron your underwear? I feel like you're the guy that
No.
irons his underwear.
No. I have trouble finding my underwear.
Do you stitch your name in your underwear?
Mom does.
Oh.
Even
No.
me, what?
Yeah, let me finish my my thought here. Even you, like, in the very beginning when I had talked about making a podcast, what did you think versus now?
I mean, I didn't really think anything bad. I was just like, oh,
But-
okay.
But surely you were like, yeah, like, okay.
I mean, it might have like crossed my mind, like, oh, is this gonna be like a permanent thing, or is it just, like,
One of them impulse things.
yeah, like, but I mean, yeah, I was just like, okay.
We've
That
had
was
a lot
about it.
We've had a lot of those. Because if you remember, we recorded a intro to another podcast sitting in Rule King parking lot that one day,
Mm-hmm.
and it never got posted.
That was like 2 years ago.
Yeah. And then
A
we're
little
like-
bit less than
we're
that.
like, we're going to start this back up. And that video never got posted.
Nope. We recorded it. I went home, went to bed.
Yep.
Never talked about it again.
So this is definitely a step up.
Yeah, I think it's a step
Yep.
up. I mean,
Did you delete it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Either that or I lost the memory card.
No, it was on your phone, I think.
Was it? No, it wasn't.
Pretty sure.
I don't think it was.
Because we propped your phone up and turned the lights on in my truck and we're just sitting there talking.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Very
or was it
weird.
the GoPro? I don't remember what it was on. It wasn't the camera.
No, it wasn't the camera.
No.
Not at all. But I think it's a good time to take a break.
Yes, I agree. I need some Mountain Dew in my life. All right. It'll just be 1 second for you guys. We're going to take a small break, and we will be right back. And we are back. That was a long break, actually.
It was a really long break.
Yeah, it was quite a long break. So, back to talking about the podcast. I think we are heading in the correct direction.
Yeah.
I think the fact that we're not seeing we are seeing good results. Like we want to see good results, good views, positive comments, stuff like that. But I feel like if we got too big too quick, it would definitely get to our heads.
Yeah, we wouldn't do as much, I don't think.
Yeah.
Put as much effort into it.
No.
Especially if we had more people, like, behind the scenes working, we wouldn't either.
Oh, yeah. No.
It'd be like sit behind a microphone, blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
done, and then that's all we'd do with it.
Yeah, I think the slow grind is the most secure.
Yeah. And Ella is a very good, sort of look for judge. Because she does not, she don't hold anything back. Like, the first one that we ever done, she was like, okay. Pulled out her phone. She said, I got a lot of notes. She just starts scrolling, and me and John sitting there like.
We're like, oh, gosh.
We're like, you know what? Give them to us. She went, okay, well, one, you're veering off topic, and you're really not coming back to it, Number two, why is there so much cussing involved? And, I mean, granted, it wasn't me and you doing the cussing, but we was like, we're really not setting a good example here.
Right.
Then she's going down through, and she said, Mason, do you have to, wear your hat? And I said, don't talk about my hat.
She goes, Mason, the hat. He goes, don't talk about my hat.
I said, the hat's staying.
Yeah. It's only because he's got a receding hairline.
I have great hair.
And, yeah, no, you do. You got good hair.
I don't know, just something about the hat. And it was just funny how she said, okay, Mason, the hat. And I went, it's staying.
It's staying on.
The hat is not going off.
No.
But it was really good feedback from the first one.
It was. It was extremely good feedback. I think that definitely, I don't think if we didn't get that feedback, honestly, in the beginning, that very first podcast,
Oh, yeah.
the content that we have now would be completely
And
different.
that's exactly what I thought.
Yeah.
I was like, they need to hear this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, we actually now are, aware and considerate of, some of the things that she talks about.
Yeah.
Why are you, veering so far off topic, which we still do, but we always bring it back.
Why are we
You know what
talking
I mean?
about stuff that we're not going to put in the podcast?
Right.
That was one of our pet peeves from the beginning of, me and you both, where it was if you say something's not going to be in there, then talk about it for 20 minutes. That's 20 minutes wasted time.
Yeah.
Whenever you do a podcast, it's just straight rolling.
Yeah.
You don't,
The only cut that is made is our break.
Yeah.
Only because we got to get up and move.
Yep. A little bit at least.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even if it's just to use the restroom or something. But, yeah. Well,
And then it makes it so difficult as well whenever it's well, don't put this in there, and then so much stuff is said, and then trying to edit it, make it look like it flows, just don't work.
Don't work.
No.
It does not work at all.
It's blotchy.
Yeah, that was a huge thing for me. That's
Yeah.
why Mason and I and Ella kind of sat down and made a list of rules, and one of them, for somebody that would come in that's not you, an actual guest that isn't going to be on the podcast on a regular basis. One of the rules is let us know beforehand if there's something you don't want to talk about or something you don't want mentioned in the podcast.
And if we say don't put it in there, it's going to be in there.
Yeah.
It's not getting cut.
If you say it on the podcast, because Mason and I know exactly what not to talk about. Not that we're hiding anything, but we know there's just certain things that you just don't talk about. You know what I mean? So
certain lines you don't cross.
yeah. So if you're a guest on our show and you start talking about stuff that you don't want to be on our show, don't continue to talk about it because it's just going to be in there anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then don't try to push your way around and make it your podcast in the middle of it.
Yeah,
you're in charge.
Yeah.
That don't work.
Mm-mm.
And that's a really big pet peeve because people come in and they think that just because they're the guest, it's all about them.
Yeah.
And granted, to an extent, it is. But at the end of the day, it's our
It's our show.
It's our
we
show.
we determine like what direction it's going to go
Yeah.
in.
And if something gets out of hand, we'll just stop it right there.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be like, okay, we're done.
Yeah, I mean, I have emergency podcast just in case
Yeah.
anything like that like were to happen. Like,
Yep.
okay, like if someone comes on and just completely ignores everything we told them, we're just like, okay, we're just not going to post it. You just wasted my time, Mason's time, and your time. Like,
That's kind of how we're perfect for this, because you kind of would more or less like kind of give me the look, and I'd be the one to be like, all right, we're done.
yeah,
Like, get up, see you later, bye. I'm just outspoken like that. It's like,
yeah,
see you later. And then John be like, okay, well, we got this one in the back, and we got this one too. We'll just, which one do we post?
yeah,
You know. But I really like the direction that it's gone so far,
mm-hmm.
and the
I
way
do
that
too.
we are learning and growing more and more each episode. You know, you can tell we're getting more comfortable. We're getting more fluent with it. You know, it's not patched together. We don't have to think as much. It's just kind of coming out, you know.
Yeah. And for me, which I'm not saying that like you don't do a bunch of work, but where I do like the editing and like the stuff like that, which I enjoy doing. Like I wouldn't want anyone else to do it, but like I think I started to say this, but then either changed how I said it or didn't finish the thought or something. But like how I was talking about earlier this week, where I kind of had like a mindset like shift where I was like taking this serious and all this stuff. And once I did that, like I now actually enjoy the chaos and the busyness and the preparation and the work. Like I don't just enjoy this part. Like this part is fun, but like I actually now enjoy like how much work I have to put into it, how busy I am, like balancing, like because I'm going through like a process of getting a new job. I got 10 other things going on, but I have, you know, I'm focusing on this too. And it's great for me to now have the capability of, because I'm so focused, have the capability to perfectly balance all that stuff out.
You know, that's kind of like you do 95% of the editing, and the way that I work, it's just really hard for me to do a whole lot of anything.
Yeah.
But, and I'm not saying like this to sound like crappy by any means, but like the funds we don't have to worry about, just because like 9 times out of 10 I have it.
Yeah, and
it's just like,
and that's kind of something that we agreed on. Mason was like, okay, well, you're doing majority of this stuff, so the least I could do is, you know, if we need something, I'll pay for it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's
like
more or less like and I don't want to make it sound like I'm the richest person in the world, because I'm not. But I mean, I'm very fortunate with the job that I have now, that I make great money.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, before, whenever we were doing stuff, it was like money was kind of always a hiccup almost, because it takes money to do anything.
Yeah.
You know, and now money's not really a problem for us. It's just like, okay, we need this, whatever, $200, $300. It's like, let's get it. And we get it, and we just keep rolling. It's not like, how are we going to come up with the money to do this and do that? Like you said, you got a $2,000 freaking computer that you're working on, you know? So, I mean, it takes a lot to, it don't only take a lot to like prepare and do what we're doing, but it takes a lot to afford the stuff to do what we're doing. To most people, it just seems like a small little setup, and it is, but it's a whole lot more expensive than people actually realize.
100%.
You know,
100%.
It's not like it's all free and just given to us. You know, like we've worked for everything that we have.
Yeah.
You know,
100%.
and then being able to pay, what's his name, Hagen?
Yeah.
To like do our social media accounts. Like before, we wouldn't have been able to do that.
Mm-mm.
It would have been,
and like I don't think he actually realizes like how vital that is, because I like I said, I balance everything out, but like in this current moment, I can't pile anything else on. Like I don't have time to do the Instagram stuff. I don't have time to separately edit the TikTok
because you're trying
stuff.
to work too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like I have a job. I'm in the process of getting another job, so I gotta go places, do drug tests, you know, take all this stuff, fill out information online, go to work, come home, do, you know, family stuff that I need to do, and edit the podcast. You know, I'm busy right now, so
And
I don't
like-
think he realizes how important he actually
No.
is.
And like your new job that you're getting, even like we'll be making a heavy 6-figure a year job, you know, like
Yeah.
money wise. Like I'm probably making close to 6 figures with this job, like, but I work out of town. I'm never home. Like I'm gone. Like I'm not saying I'll make 6 figures exactly like in a year, but between my job and the job you're getting, like we're going to be like mid 6 figures or close, you know?
I would put us over 6 figures probably.
Well, yeah, be close. Yeah.
Easily. Which,
Yep.
because, which I don't even care to talk about this, but like the job that I'm getting right now starts off at $16 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, to a lot of people, that's not a whole lot of money. But on the flip side, after my first 90 days, I get 3 weeks paid vacation.
Yep.
That's impossible to find.
Yeah.
I get full benefits, including life insurance.
Yep.
And every year, at the end of the year, if you pass your, you know, inspection or review, whatever they do, you get a $3 raise,
Yep.
and it caps out at $30. So, I mean, that is a like career path job.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So,
And like where I'm getting ready to go out of town, I've been fortunate to have a lot of jobs kind of sporadically while I've been off, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. Like I've been off work, but I haven't at the same time. Like I'll get called for like small shutdowns, which
yeah.
those are good payouts because they're a lot of hours. The travel to these places, like, I mean, you know, I don't just travel around here locally. Like I'm way out of town staying in a hotel room
Mhm.
for 3, 4, 5 days, whatever it is. And then when I come back, you know, we'll have probably the most we've had together is probably like a week, like straight, where
Yeah,
I haven't had to go to like a shutdown somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then like whenever I go out of town this next time, it'll be more or less a shutdown, but a full-time job for a few months. So like, yeah, I'll come back home every so often, but it's not going to be like a 5 days and then off a week, 5 days
Yeah.
and then off a week, or 3 days or 2 days and off a week. It'll be like home 2 days, back to work for
However
2
long.
weeks, 3 weeks, and then back a couple days and then gone again, you know?
Yeah.
But that all kind of plays out into like our building of the podcast, because like the majority of our money is going into this to make it grow.
Right.
So I mean, it takes sacrifice to do that.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta, like, with anything really, I mean, you gotta sink money into it to make money off of it.
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, you always gotta, there's always something that you can get to improve the quality of whatever you're doing.
And like
And that costs money.
your new job will be travel too. So it's going to be
Yeah.
like, if we wanted to stay around here and work and then try to do this, I mean, it just would not be possible.
Yeah.
Just because we wouldn't make enough. But it's like I said, where you'll be traveling and I'm traveling, the money that kind of goes into that will just kind of like, I don't want to say it'll pile up, but money
Right.
definitely won't be a
Like a
issue.
zero problem
Yeah.
with money.
It'll be like, okay, we need
If
to
we
get
needed
this,
to buy if we needed to buy a camera,
go get it.
order one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's kind of like something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Just because like whenever I come back home, I'll have time where I can just, if I wanted to, take off like 2 months and still have a lot saved up. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It wouldn't be like I come home for a week and it's like, okay, what am I going to do? I need money. You know, it's like, okay, we want to do this. We want to buy this. We want to upgrade this. Kind of write down the total price, and then we go to the bank and get it out, and
Yeah.
that's that, you
Mhm.
know? So that's definitely a plus side to kind of where we were at one point, where we didn't have what we needed, or if we did have what we needed, it wasn't like really good equipment or anything like that.
Yeah.
And now it's like we don't have top of the line stuff,
But we have solid
but it's
equipment.
not junk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have real solid. Like, I watched, I've been watching some, like, videos on, like, how the YouTube algorithm works and, like, how to grow your channel and, like, stuff like that. And I seen all of these people, and he was like, that, like, all of them are basically the same. It's like quantity first, quality later. I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense. But then I seen this guy who is a professional videographer, and he'll do
Mhm.
shoots for, like, Mercedes-Benz and, like, Ferrari and, like, a bunch
Mhm.
of these huge car companies.
And those are 6-figure paychecks a picture.
Oh, yeah, every time he clicks that button, they're like,
Yeah.
$1 million,
Yeah.
$1 million. But He runs a YouTube channel where he talks about camera equipment and like stuff like that. Which, granted, when he started his YouTube channel, he already had all top of the line stuff. You know, microphones up, just because that was his profession, so he had it. But he was like, listen, you know, people say quantity over quality. He's like, nobody wants to sit down and watch a crappy video with crappy audio. It doesn't matter how much stuff you post. People aren't going to watch it.
Yep.
So why wouldn't it make sense to perfect your quality and buy things that you know you're going to need, buy things that are going to improve the quality of your podcast or video or live stream or whatever it is. That way when people see it, they want to click on it. You know what I mean? I was like, I never thought of it that way because I never heard that. I'm like, that makes so much more sense.
Yep.
So when people were probably like, well, probably like our parents or like friends and stuff, they're like, man, you're saving a lot of money in this. You got, you know, 100 subscribers. We're like, yeah, we're not going to get any more if, you know.
It looks like crap.
It looks like crap, which it don't look like crap now, but there's always room to improve.
Like whenever we started the first channel, you know, we got a GoPro. Like that's not really a good camera to record on. We was like, dude, this is going to take it up a notch. And like,
actually, the phones look better.
Yeah. You know, so it's like kind of going back to we got what we could get.
Yeah.
And it definitely wasn't good enough. I don't even know what the heck I did with my GoPro.
You lost it.
Yeah, I don't even know where it's at.
Actually, I'm pretty sure it was in your Civic when you sold it.
It probably was.
It had to have been because that thing just disappeared.
Yeah, and I'm not mad about it. It took like 7 weeks to get here from freaking Amazon. Yeah.
And like now we would have a reason to have a GoPro. For example, our Patreon. Once we have, you know, our studio set up, if we don't have another camera, we're not really going to be, we're not even really going to be messing with the camera we record on now because it's just going to stay put.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So having a GoPro and recording, you know, an ice bath challenge or, you know, stuff like that is going to be extremely valuable.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, it'll be, we're taking steps in the right direction now. Like, I mean, it took us a while to kind of get started up but now we're kind of making those leaps and those bounds of.
We don't think of this as a podcast anymore. We think of this as a business project.
Yep. It's no longer just something for fun to. I mean, it is fun, but it's not just. We're not doing it just for fun. We're doing it because we want to better ourselves and we want to eventually one day make this our job.
Yeah.
That we don't have to, quote unquote, kill ourselves every single day working for a place that if you die tomorrow, they're going to fill your job.
Right.
You know, like we want to be our own bosses in a sense. Like we don't want to have to worry about day to day, job to job, you know, income. We want it to be like we sit down and we get to kind of interact with people on a daily basis and make our money that way.
Yes.
You know, kind of something we want to do, not something we have to do.
Yeah. And it's not that like we're not doing this because we're money hungry and like you can make a lot of money doing this, but we want to be able to make money doing this. That way we can do this more often.
Yep.
And like actually do this full time where we can spend, you know, 10, 12, however many ever hours doing podcast business stuff. Because at the end of the day, the only thing we really want to do is leave an impact.
Yep. Because, like, I mean, I've talked about how I like to kind of travel a little bit, and you've talked about how you like to kind of travel a little bit. And, I mean, I think we even talked about going to Tennessee for, like, a little vacation thing or whatever. And, you know, if we had the ability to do that with this being, like, our only, you know, job, we would have so much more room for discussion. You know, like the places we've been, the things we've seen.
Yeah.
How people, like, act here, how people act there, or the culture, and, you know.
Yes. See, I see a lot of people, like, on Instagram or whatever, who travel, and the comments are like, oh, you know, they don't even work and all that stuff. I'm like, no, hold on. Take a step back. What do? They run a podcast.
How did they get there? It wasn't free. It wasn't cheap.
Yeah, it wasn't free. It wasn't cheap. And second of all, everything that they experience, you're going to listen to when they post it.
Yeah, it's going to their.
So, like, yeah, they're on a vacation and they're having fun, but they talk about all the people they met, all the stories that they have from that place, and that is content for them. They have something to talk about, which makes them more money. Going on vacation makes them more money.
And
you know what I mean?
Some people rather hear excuse me, people's personal experiences rather than them going out and doing it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like they would rather kind of hear about it and be more interested that way than doing it themselves, and then be like, oh, these guys went here, let's see what that was like, you know.
Yeah.
Because have you ever been on YouTube and you just randomly something's like randomly popped in your head and you just typed it in
Every day.
yeah, and then like somebody's on there and you're like, oh, you
Yeah.
click on it, you watch it, and you're like, oh, that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Then you just keep looking through videos.
And a lot of people, you know, might not ever have the opportunity to go to like some of these places or experience some of these things, and the only sort of fulfillment they can get out of it is listening to someone who's like gone through an experience, you know. And I'm not saying like because this will get big, you know. This will get big one day, mark my words. But like, I forgot what I was going to say.
This will get big. I've always wanted to actually go to. It's really good, John. And here
we flow
here,
so
yeah,
nice.
I was about to say, here we was talking about that earlier. I've actually want to go to Jerusalem quite a bit, you know, and go through like the holy city and all that stuff, and you know,
that would be an interesting podcast.
You know, like that's just something that really just sparks my interest.
Yeah,
because like the streets are the same, they haven't changed. You know, the tombs are the same. Like, I mean, it's a city that's frozen in time.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same that it was 2,000 years ago. Is the same it is today. You know, you can't walk around the United States and see something exactly the same as it was 50, 60 years ago. Some shape or form, it's been tweaked a little bit or changed a little bit. And like Jerusalem and Israel and all that stuff, like they're the same exact way they was. Like they haven't changed. Like if you read about something in the Bible and you go over there, it still looks like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they have been able to almost encapsulate their way of life for all those years and didn't have to change with the times.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's really neat that people still live that way.
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't need, like we talked about, they don't need the technology.
Yeah.
They don't need the gratification of the worldly things.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, my brother, he got deployed, and I forget where he was. I think it was Afghanistan or something like that. And it was funny because he called Dad, and he said, you know, Dad, the freaking rats over here are the size of house cats, and you don't have to worry about sheets being on the windows because they're wearing them all. And I went, that's the way it's always been.
Like, yeah.
Like they've never changed.
Yeah.
Like that's it. And I was like, it's kind of neat.
That is pretty cool. That is awesome.
I mean, it's not awesome that they're wearing the sheets,
or
the mice are as big as house cats. But I mean, it's like
that's
just their way of life hasn't changed.
Yeah, no, it's just frozen in time, like you said.
And like what we're doing here is illegal in a lot of countries. You know,
yeah.
Like if you watch comedy, it's illegal in a lot of countries. I remember watching one guy, and he actually got escorted out of the city into a desert to do a comedy show because it was so illegal in like the city itself that people were getting like stoned and
wow,
beat.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because of that, and they would go hundreds of miles outside of the city just to do these things, and if they still got caught all the way out there, they'd still be charged.
That's wild.
And it's the freedoms that we have to actually do what we want or do what we can is just crazy to me.
Yeah. We are very fortunate to live in America.
Oh, absolutely.
Very fortunate. Well, I think we're going to wrap this one up.
Yep, I think we're about done.
It's been a while. Ella, do you have anything to add before we wrap it up?
Mm-mm.
Any one last little question or one last little input?
Go ahead and tell them about your job and the openings you have, what times and stuff.
Go ahead and let them know that. Remember, this is going to be posted next Sunday. So.
And I mean, this is kind of your thing too now, and you have a profession that you need to get out there as well.
Yes.
I'm open Tuesday through Saturday, 11 to 5.
And where's your place at?
Lucasville. And follow my Instagram, Aesthetics by Ella, and on Facebook as well.
And I'm assuming probably if you want Book to message you there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she's got her own little thing going, and we're trying to continue our little thing going. Together, we're just going to be one big happy family.
One big happy. As soon as we yeah.
Yeah.
You need to get married first. Then we'll be a big old happy family.
You're an idiot. You're just go. All right, fellas. All right. Okay. It's too far.
All right. Well, I think this is a great spot to wrap it up. Thank you for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed this podcast, please leave a like, leave a comment on either topics or subjects, or if you want to be on the podcast, if you know us personally. We do have to know you. One of us have to know you personally.
Yeah.
For right now, at least.
Yep. If you enjoyed the podcast, thank me and Ella. If you hated it, thank John.
Yep.
And
I'll roll with that. Yeah. Share this to your family, friends, relatives, dogs, cats, horses, whatever. Whoever's going to watch it.
Horses.
Share it to them. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you in the next episode.
1% better every day.
1% better every day. Okay. Hold on.
I got him.
We've been slacking on that, haven't we?
I got him.
Yeah.
So go ahead and end us with that.
I just did end us with that.
Okay. We'll see you in the next episode.